Hello everybody, welcome back to Jurassic World Evolution. Today we're starting a Jurassic Difficulty playthrough on the original Isla Nublar Island. So not the Jurassic Park 93 one, the original. And we're going to be doing the Jurassic World Era. I held a poll recently and there were some votes for the Jurassic Park era, but generally people seem to prefer seeing the Jurassic World era, so let's get to the island.
Welcome to Isla Nublar. Here's where you get to prove you can succeed where others have failed. In challenge mode, your ability to run and manage a park will really be put to the test.
Alright, so let's get started. I'm actually trying a new way of recording these where I'm doing a voiceover after having played it, so there's gonna be like some parts where I talk through what's going on and some parts where I'm just playing the gameplay at a little bit of an elevated speed, because otherwise these videos are gigantically, if that's probably not a word, but they're really long. And this is an effort of mine to make them a little more watchable, hopefully not as overwhelmingly long. So let me know what you all think of this new video approach, and I'll see if you guys like it. I'll keep going with this. If you prefer the old method with the more live commentary, longer videos, just let me know. So anyway, what we're going on here is I was trying to make my 2x3 starting rectangle for these starting buildings, and I already made a mistake here. So as you can see, the terrain constraints are kind of in the way, and I don't have enough room to fit the entire rectangle here. But we'll get creative and we'll still be able to fit all of our buildings in this area. When you're planning to do a Jurassic Difficulty playthrough, I would suggest kind of either on paper or in the sandbox mode of the game, kind of build or plan out your park in advance. So like I knew that I wanted to have this top left corner of the island be where I put all of my facilities. I mean, this isn't, you don't have to put them here. This is just kind of where I chose based on the layout that I had. But anyway, for Jurassic Difficulty, you want to start with a power station, an expedition center, and a fossil center, so you can get going on getting dinosaur DNA. So once we get these 3 buildings down, we're just gonna start sending out dig teams. Pretty routine stuff overall. Yeah, I am gonna have to connect this all the way back to the start. I do like to have my facilities kind of out of the way, especially given how intense the travel requirements, or how picky I guess the guests are with having to walk too far. So having the facilities far away is nice because they don't count toward anything. There's no, I guess they technically count for visitor shelter coverage, but like you don't need to have a fast food or shopping anywhere near them, so it's nice to have the facilities out of the way. So you're gonna see here, we're gonna get our main street get going here. We're gonna expand on that as the video progresses. But yeah, we're gonna be going for Struthiomimus first, and then one thing I probably could have done a little better of a job in this video is two things. You'll notice that there's times when I'm not constantly sending dig teams. I just kind of forgot a few times. And the other thing is there's some there's a couple contracts that aren't amazing here, but generally speaking, you'll see there's times when I'm just spending a few minutes getting rid of contracts until I pull a good one. That's really how you get through this first star, right, is getting decent contracts. And don't be discouraged if you just get a streak of bad contracts and it bankrupts you. I actually made a challenge mode guide a while ago, and probably the most useful part of it is I have a area that talks about which contracts you should keep, which ones are questionable, and which ones are instant get rid of if you can afford the penalty. I'll try to link that with like a card or something, or else I'll link it at the end of this video. A lot of the stuff I talked about in that is still relevant for the Jurassic World Challenge Mode. But generally speaking, if you're trying to get the skins and you haven't beaten every island and you have the Return to Jurassic Park DLC, the Return to Jurassic Park Jurassic Challenge Mode, so many Jurassics, the Return to Jurassic Park era is a lot easier, mainly because the contracts are easier from the doctors and John Hammond and Cabot, and the dinosaur requirements are a little easier because there's like a third of the dinosaurs that you can choose. But generally speaking, the Jurassic era is much easier, which is why I was kind of surprised more people wanted to see the Jurassic World era. You guys just must want me to suffer in the harder mode. But that's alright. I enjoy the Jurassic World mode because I can get more access to dinosaurs. Or there's more dinosaurs anyway. And on that topic, generally I want to play this as optimally as possible. I don't want to, because I know some people watch these for help and guidance on their own clears of Jurassic difficulty. But I did think it would be kind of neat if y'all want to like self-impose some custom challenges on me in this playthrough, like you have to feature XYZ dinosaur in an exhibit, or you can't use, like, Dilophosaurus is probably like the easiest dinosaur to accrue a whole bunch of points. So like if you want to say nope, you can't use Dilophosaurus, maybe we can just post in the comments. It's pretty early and I haven't used any, like, by the end of this video I haven't used any game breaking, I mean none of the dinosaurs are game breaking, but I haven't used any of the like extremely valuable dinosaurs except for Struthiomimus. So as you can see, I'm sort of pre-planning with this hatchery here. The hatcheries are expensive and take up a lot of power, so you want to try to limit them. You can just post one hatchery with your facilities and then just trank and move all the dinosaurs, but that gets really cumbersome. That's one of the things I really it's very frustrating over time with this game, is having to trank and move dinosaurs all the time. And they actually specifically address that in like one of the very first updates for the sequel. They're having, like, I forgot what they called it, but it's in the Return to Jurassic Park campaign where you can fly in dinosaurs. You don't have to, they don't all have to come out of the same hatchery and then trank and move them. So that's such a minor quality of life thing, but I'm really excited about that. But anyway, this hatchery is gonna open up into 3 exhibits, so it'll be really easy for me to keep these 3 exhibits filled with dinosaurs over the playthrough, and I won't have to worry about tranking any of them. The only thing that can be an issue with this strategy is sometimes the dinosaurs migrate into the hatchery zone, and you have to get the Jeep and like honk the horn at them to make them run back into the actual exhibit. But otherwise, I generally like doing this so I don't have to trank and fly every single dinosaur, especially for exhibits that I know I'm going to have a lot of dinosaurs in. So that just goes back to, like I said, pre-planning your park is really helpful, so you know where everything's gonna be in advance. So, like for example, I plan on having this is gonna be like a 3-pronged enclosure. The one on the left here is gonna be our Struthiomimus and Hadrosaur exhibit. The one in the middle is going to be the Ceratopsid enclosure, so I'll probably have Triceratops, Sinoceratops. Oh, here's our first dinosaur, by the way. I wanted to commentate at least through here, because this, honestly, once you get the first dinosaur out, you at least have some income, and a lot of times people can get stuck before they even get their first dinosaur out there. And as you can see, I built the minimum number of buildings. I don't remember if they've updated the game, but dinosaur visibility only used to matter to get guests in the park initially, and then after that it only matters for contracts. But you have to have dinosaur visibility to at least to some extent in order to get visitors into the park. Alright, so now that we got our first dinosaur out here, I'm gonna let the gameplay roll for a little bit, and I'll check in with y'all in a few minutes or so. So see you in a bit. Alrighty, let's see how we've been doing. We're about to have our next dinosaur. The Edmontosaurus is about to join our roster. So not all that much has changed. As you can see, it's mainly been trying to do contracts and get the monies going and getting the genomes. There we go. Let's watch our next dinosaur come on out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to announce the arrival of our latest attraction, Edmontosaurus. It is truly a delight to observe the natural grace of these gentle giants.
Alright, very nice. Species number 2 in the park. I was kind of mentioning this earlier, but the middle enclosure there is going to be for the ceratopsids, so Triceratops. I think I'm going to put in Sinoceratops and then maybe Styracosaurus. It just depends on, I honestly kind of forgot the order. I am doing the default dig sites with this, by the way, in case you missed that earlier. Mainly because I did random dig sites once, and it was just a giant pain for Jurassic difficulty. I actually think it would be fun on the lower difficulties to try it, but yeah, so far not much has changed in the park. I've put down a few extra buildings to get our facility rating. I actually completely forgot that restrooms were a thing now, and that actually adds to your facility rating. One thing I wanted to mention earlier as well, I think it happened earlier in the playthrough, but I had a contract to build a research station. Instead of deleting it, I went ahead and built the research station, and then I ended up being low on money, and if that happens to you, you can go ahead and demolish your research station and get $300,000 back. It ends up being I don't know, I'm not exactly sure if you come out net positive, but some of those buildings, if you don't need them right away, just wait till you get a contract for them. Sometimes most of the time the game tries to prompt you into building those buildings. As you can see here, we had a little outbreak of common cold. Thankfully it wasn't anything too bad. I'm sure we'll have plenty of disease issues later on in the playthrough. That's something to consider when you're placing your ranger vehicles. You want to make sure that you have quick access to most of the park with your ranger vehicles. This island is so big, I'm probably going to have to build a second ranger station on the opposite end of the island later on. Yeah, for now it's just more contracts, and I think I have a few more dinosaurs, but nothing major. I'll check in with y'all once we release our third species in a little bit. Alright, let's hop on back in. As you can see, I built a more permanent emergency shelter, because once you get to 1 star, you can have bad storms, including tornadoes, at any time. So I decided to just go ahead and keep that emergency shelter down on the ground. And otherwise, it's just a lot of contracts. Don't be afraid to get rid of the bad ones. But I believe, oh yeah, I got stuck in the trees here. I'm pretty sure I thinned out these trees a bit later. That's another thing to consider, is trying to make it easy for your rangers and you to be able to drive around through your enclosures. But right now it's time to meet our 3rd species for the park.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special announcement. Our newest 5-star attraction, the heroic herbivore Triceratops, is now on display. This gentle giant will put a smile on the faces of those visitors who long to see a vegetarian who fights back. Please enjoy.
I actually kind of hope that Triceratops is a later unlock in the sequel. I always view Triceratops as one of the 5-star dinosaurs that you unlock later in the game. And it was weird to have it be literally like the 2nd or 3rd dinosaur you get. But so yeah, trying to pretty up the hatchery zone a little bit there. But we've got our 2nd enclosure built, and the Triceratops is now in there. That we will slowly fill that enclosure up with other ceratopsids over time. And I actually kind of thought that was going to get me close to, a little closer to 1 star, but I believe now my focus turned to incubating a Ceratosaurus so that we could get to 1 star a bit faster. And you know what happens at 1 star? That's when we get the dig yield, so pretty important to get there as quick as possible. But yeah, I'll check in with y'all again once we get to Ceratosaurus.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to announce that the Jurassic carnivore Ceratosaurus is now on display. Please enjoy.
Alright, Ceratosaurus has joined the roster, and that is our final species for this video, in case you were wondering. I do start getting some genome progress on the Sinoceratops though, but I remember I was a little surprised we weren't past 1 star at this point, so I think we need... I remember for some reason I incubated a second Ceratosaurus and we jumped over to 1 star right away, and then it actually dipped back below 1 star for some reason. I was a little confused by what was going on there. But right here you can see I'm planning ahead for a future viewing gallery, and then I actually decided to put it in this second enclosure instead. One thing that you will notice that's is kind of annoying. That second viewing gallery is technically like too far away from the fast food, so I'm gonna have to relocate those later, which is fine, I guess, because I'm going to change them to a shopping center and the restaurant at some point anyway. But the ranges for some of these things, some of these buildings, where how quick or how close your viewing vents have to be is a little annoying. There's another thing I generally prefer about the Jurassic Park era. However, with that being said, I do actually really like the stationary viewing vents and the viewing towers, whereas the Jurassic Park era only has the ride. So there is that. I'm sure if you play on the computer, I'm sure there's mods that let you get around that, but I am playing on console, at least for now. I plan to get the sequel on PC. So at this point, not much else goes on with the park. I think one relatively major thing, I guess, is I do build a second small power station in a little bit. That allows me to actually turn on the power for my Ranger's vehicle. But as you can see, I was actually able to manually use the Ranger station without power. One other thing I wanted to mention is, if you can, try to finish out your key buildings before you reach 1 star. So try to have your ACU, your Ranger station, the research center, and all that stuff ready to go. Mainly because once you do hit 1 star, the Hammond Foundation fee goes up, and you can be hit by a tornado at pretty much any time. So it helps to have all of your buildings and be financially secure and have a good amount of money in the bank before you roll over to 1 star. So just something to keep in mind. But anyway, that's about it for this episode. There's a bit more gameplay to go, but I'm just going to let it roll with the JPOG music, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.